Okay, let's talk about self-defense. You put a very good argument in your recent writings that the right of self-defense is there, and it's emanating from the right of the superpowers, basically, who speak about their right to use nuclear weapons in order to deter any survivability matter. Or if they are attacked and they find that their survival is at stake, they can use even nuclear weapons to obliterate their opponents.
Yes.
If we apply that argument, as you say, in the Middle East, how does it work?
Well, the international law says that you're not allowed to use indiscriminate weapons, weapons which target not just military objectives, but also civilians and civilian infrastructure. It's illegal. So in 1996, the case became before the International Court of Justice whether it's legal to use nuclear weapons, because obviously they can't distinguish between civilians and military objectives, given the amount of devastation they inflict in one single blow. It was a very interesting case before the International Court of Justice, a very interesting submissions. I've read it. Actually, I'm going to be teaching it this coming semester in Turkey, that particular case. And what the International Court of Justice ruled, it said that we cannot say for certain whether under international law it's illegal for a country or state whose survival is at stake, we cannot say definitely that they can't use nuclear weapons. So my argument, my response to that is, if a state might be allowed to use these mass weapons of destruction, or weapons of mass destruction like nuclear weapons, if a state might be allowed to use a weapon of mass destruction like a nuclear weapon when its survival is at stake, then surely a people has the right to use projectiles against an enemy when its survival is at stake, which is what the Palestinians in Gaza were doing.
Suicide bombers.
Look, I don't want
What's the difference between a nuclear power?
Listen,
Well, the Japanese use them. The Vietnamese use them.
Listen, international law, in large part, is completely insane and makes distinctions which, if you're sitting in Mars, you would think this planet is, by any reckoning, completely lunatic. So as one of the judges put it in the International Court of Justice case on the nuclear weapons, the 1996 case, he said there's something slightly insane going on here. He said in 1899, the international community, it ruled that the dum-dum bullet, causes unnecessary or excessive pain, and therefore we're declaring the dum-dum bullet illegal. And he says, but we can't reach the conclusion in this court that a nuclear weapon which will vaporize 100,000 people in the blink of an eye, we can't reach the conclusion that a nuclear weapon is illegal? That's completely insane.
Exactly.
As a friend of mine said, there's all this talk about the horror of ISIS because it beheads people. Okay, I'm not going to defend ISIS. There are better causes in the world to defend than ISIS. Syed Nasrallah said they're a monster, and I'm willing to use his language. Yes, ISIS is a monster. I think it's a Western-created monster, but that's a separate issue. But there is, my friend said, do you know what bombs which drop from the sky, what they do to people? You think that beheading is so barbaric? Have you ever seen what a bomb does to a person? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the law is crazy. The whole moral scale, the whole moral hierarchy is crazy.